Gieve Patel, and which is very important in a modern perspective. We all know that our environment is in the threshold of danger, and it is deteriorating day by day. So this poem is an eye-opener for all of us. Okay, now today we will learn Gieve Patel's On Killing a Tree. On Killing a Tree. Gieve Patel's On Killing a Tree. Gieve Patel was born in 1940. Gieve Patel was born in 1940 on 18th August in Bombay. He was a Parsi. His father was a dentist and his mother was a doctor's daughter. So he inherited a doctor's clinical eye from both his father and from his grandfather. Okay. Gieve Patel, he studied in St. Xavier's School and then he graduated from Grant's Medical College. He is a practicing physician. He still now treating the ill patients in the remote villages of Maharashtra. Besides, he is a great painter, a poet, a playwright, all of these. Gieve Patel belongs to a group of writers who have subscribed themselves to the Green Movement, which is involved in an effort to protect the environment. His poems speaks of deep concerns for nature and expose man's cruelty to it. His works include How Do You Withstand, which was published in 1966, Body 1976, and Mirroring in 1991. He wrote 3 plays titled Princess, Sabakasa, and an anthology of poems and plays, Mr. Behram, which was published in 2007. So this is Gieve Patel, a Parsi poet, playwright, painter, and at the same time he is a practicing physician. Each year, Gieve Patel arranges a poetry competition in Hyderabad with the young budding poets. So, Gieve Patel had great contribution to English literature of modern India. Now we shall go to the poem On Killing a Tree. On Killing a Tree is written by Gieve Patel. As I told you that it tells us about the cutting of the branches or cutting its stem, which is not enough to kill a tree. The branches and leaves will grow again. we need to cut out the root and dry it in the sun, in the scorching sun. Then we have to choke it, and at last we can destroy a tree. This poem highlights a lot of morals. Firstly, it displays the destructive nature of humans. Destructive nature, mind it. Annihilation of the environment. Annihilation of the environment is here chosen by Gieve Patel. Secondly, it shows that Mother Nature is inevitable and cannot be easily destroyed. The Mother Nature, the nature which nurtures us, which gives us the nutrients, the minerals, the oxygen, the carbon dioxide to the trees, and all those things we need. So, Mother Nature cannot be destroyed. Thirdly, the tree is a symbol of mankind. It says that human life is not so easy to end. If we cut the fingers or the skin, then we do not die. It is the herb that should be cut off. This is the main theme of the poem. The poem is very short, but it slashes out scar in our mind. And I think, personally, if you go through the poem, you will, or you must, or you are going to change your mind setup towards the trees. Okay? So next we will read the poem. It takes much time to kill a tree. Not a simple jab of the knife will do it. It has grown, slowly consuming the earth, rising out of it, feeding on its crust, absorbing years of sunlight, air, water, and out of its leprous hide, sprouting lips. So hack and chop, but this alone won't do it. Not so much pain will do it. The bleeding bud will heal, and from close to the ground will rise curled green twigs, miniature boughs, which, if unchecked, will expand again to former size. No, the root is to be pulled out of the anchoring earth. It is to be roped, tied, and pulled out, snapped out, or pulled out entirely out from the earth cave, and the strength of the tree exposed. The source, white and wet, the most sensitive, hidden for years inside the earth. Then the matter of scorching and choking in sun and air, browning, hardening, twisting, withering, and then it is done. Yes, the poet has told us how to kill a tree. Yes, kill a tree. Mind it, the word kill. This very word kill suggests murder. Yes, we murder a tree. Trees are the living entities besides a human being, besides an animal. It is also a living entity. We all know that Acharya Jagadish Chandra Bose the great scientist, he discovered that a plant has a life. Yes, life. He did several experiments and showed us that the tree has a life. He injected poison and showed us that how the tree reacted to it. We all know a little herb which we call touch me not. We call touch me not in Bengali. You say touch me not plant, যেটাকে আমরা ছুলে যেটা পাতাগুলো বন্ধ হয়ে যায়, কি যেন বলে? Touch me not plant, we call it in English. So this herb, this plant shows that it has some human quality within it. So trees are also a living entity, a living thing, and to cut a tree is to murder a tree. To cut a tree is to murder a tree. Here the poet Gieve Patel has told or has shown several steps to kill a tree. It seems that he is devoid of any feeling towards the trees, but it is not true. Actually, he wants to choke the readers. He wants to surprise the readers. He wants to feel the pain by the readers. Yes, the readers, after reading this poem, the readers can feel the pain which a tree feels while we cut a tree. So it is a type of heinous crime. It is a crime we do towards the plant kingdom. Yes, plant kingdom, the environment. We are destroying our environment ruthlessly. So here the poet shows that it is not easy to kill a tree, because a tree which consumed a lot of nutrients from the Mother Earth and which took years of sunlight, air and water within his body. So it is not easy to kill a tree with a simple jab, with a simple jab of a knife. Okay? It has been grown upon the crust of the Mother Earth. So we cannot kill a tree properly by simply cutting its branches or by simply cutting its trunk, etc. Now we will go to in detail analysis of this poem. Okay? Now look at this thing. It takes much time to kill a tree. Not a simple jab of the knife will do it. It has grown slowly, consuming the earth. It takes much time. Yes, it takes much time to kill a tree. We cannot cut a tree, we cannot kill a tree with a simple jab of knife. It has grown slowly, consuming the earth, the Mother Earth, the nature. Now next slide. Rising out of it fading upon its crust, absorbing years of sunlight, air, water, and out of its leprous height, rising out of it, the tree rises from the earth, feeding upon its crust, feeding as a mother feeds her child. The mother earth also feeds a tree from its planthood. So, it is the mother earth which feeds the tree, absorbing years of sunlight, air, water, and out of its leprous height, sprouting leaves. Look at this picture. Leprous height. Leprous height. Height means skin. Here the bark. The discolored bark of a tree is compared here to a leper's skin. Okay, leper's skin. A discolored bark of a tree is compared here with a leper's skin. So, from a leprous height, that means the discolored bark. From the discolored bark, sprouting leaves. Leaves are sprouted. Leaves. Small leaves are sprouted. Leprous height. আমরা এখানে leprous height বলতে বুঝি যে discolored bark of a tree. So discolored bark of a tree is compared here with a leper's skin. Okay. Now next slide. So hack and chop, but this alone won't do it. Not so much pain will do it. The bleeding bird will heal, and from close to the ground will rise curled green twigs. So hack and chop. Hack and chop means to cut the tree into pieces. To cut the tree into pieces will not do it. Will not kill a tree completely. Okay, but this alone won't do it. If you cut a tree into pieces, it will not kill the tree completely. Not so much pain will do it. This pain that the tree feels while we cut a tree is not enough to kill a tree. The bleeding bark will heal. The bleeding bark. Here, look at this picture. The bleeding bark. If we cut a trunk of some trees, we can see that a liquid, a sap, coming out of it. Here, the poet compares bleeding of a human being with the bleeding of a tree that is oozing of sap. Sap oozes, sap comes out if we cut a tree. Likewise, if we cut our hand with a knife, blood comes out. We bleed. So bleeding is here compared with oozing of saps. Okay, bleeding bark. Bleeding bark. The poet is a physician, and he has a great clinical eye. He has observed his patients closely, and he knows how someone bleeds. So he compared here the bleeding of human being to the bleeding of a tree, which is nothing but coming out the sap will stop coming out and the tree will heal quickly. And we can't kill a tree by simply bleeding or simply taking out its sap. Okay, by simply taking out its sap, we can't kill a tree. It will heal itself. So next slide. And from close to the ground will rise curled green twigs. Look at this picture. A tree has been cut from the ground, close to the ground, and we can see a green twig. This is a green twig, curled. Curled means curly. Curly green twigs. It comes out from this left out part of a tree. So it is not going to kill a tree completely by cutting its trunk. Miniature boughs. This is miniature boughs. Miniature means a model. A model of a tree. A model of a tree. Miniature boughs, which if unchecked, if we do not pay any heed to this twig, it will expand again to the former site as it was. A great big tree as it was, it will grow to its former size like this one. Okay, like this one. So next slide. No. The root is to be pulled out. Look at this picture. The root is to be pulled out of the anchoring earth. Look at the word anchoring earth. The earth anchors the tree within its spheres, within its spaces, within its caves. It anchors a tree. So the root has to be pulled out of its anchoring earth. What to do? It is to be roped, to be tied with rope and pulled out, snapped out. Look at this picture, snapping out. That means pulled out entirely, or pulled out entirely, snapped out, very close in their meaning. Pulled out entirely like this one, this picture. Nothing is left in the cave, earth cave. Out from the earth cave. This is the earth cave. This is the earth cave. And nothing is left in this earth cave. The tree has been pulled out entirely with its roots. With its roots. Okay. Next slide. And the strength of the tree exposed. Yes, strength. The strength of a tree hides in its roots. In its roots. Here, this is allegorical in meaning. We have seen in some mythology, Delilah was a woman who loved a great hero of Greek, and the hero's strength was his hair. So when the people, the enemy, came to know that the strength his hair, they cut his hair. So here the strength of a tree is its roots. And if we kill a tree, we have to expose, we have to take out the roots from the earth cave. The source, white and wet. Look at this picture. This is white, the roots are white and it is wet also. The most sensitive, yes, it is the most sensitive bird. Roots are the most sensitive bird and it is kept hidden for years inside the earth. It is kept hidden for years inside the earth. Like this. Look at this picture. It is kept hidden for years inside the earth. Now next slide. The last one. Then the matter of scorching and choking in sun and air. Look at this picture. After touching a tree, we have to keep the trunks or the branches in sun and air. For what? For browning. The air and heat of the sun browns a trunk. Okay? And for hardening, it becomes harder if we keep it open under the sun. Twisting. If we apply heat on wood, it becomes twisted. As the watery part evaporates from a tree, it becomes twisted. So when we keep a tree or its branches or its logs or trunks in sun, the watery part of that log or that trunk evaporates and it becomes twisted and also withers. Okay, withers. And then this is the last one, and then it is done. The killing of a tree is completed after doing all these things to a tree. Okay, so this is the poem written by Gieve Patel. Now we will discuss about the literary devices that Gieve Patel used in this poem. Okay. Now move on to the first slide. Now look at this poem. In this poem, the poet uses no rhyme scheme. There is no rhyme scheme in this poem. No rhyme scheme. No rhyme scheme. If you see, if you go through the last words of this poem, you will see that there is no rhyming words. Tree, knife, groan, art, feeding, absorbing water, hide, leaves. There is no particular rhyme. It is written in free verse. It is written in free verse. It is written in free verse. Okay. So there is no particular rhyme scheme used in this poem. It is written in free verse. Because this is the harsh reality we see in our environment. We Patel, he used no rhyming words to give the poem a lyrical effect. Next, if we go through the poem, we can see that the poet has used some metaphor. Some metaphor. What is metaphor? Metaphor is the comparison of two different words. Comparison of two different words. Illicit or illicit comparison, which is not explicit, so metaphor is a literary device, a literary art which is used here in case of leprous hide and bleeding bark. Leprous hide and bleeding bark. In leprous hide, the poet has compared the bark of a tree with the skin of a leper or leprosy patient. Okay, skin of a leprosy patient is compared with the bark of a tree, discolored bark of a tree. Discolored bark of a tree is compared to the skin of a leper. Skin of a leper. Discolored bark of a tree is compared to skin of a leper. So it is a case of metaphor. It is a case of metaphor. Now look at the words, the phrase bleeding bark. Bleeding bark. Here also the poet has compared two different things. Bleeding of a human being with the oozing of sap of a tree. Bleeding of human being with oozing of sap of a plant. Okay. It is also a case of metaphor. Bleeding is compared, bleeding bark, bleeding of skin is compared to oozing of bark. Bleeding of skin is compared to oozing of bark. So metaphor is used in these two cases, leprous hide and bleeding bark. Leprous hide and bleeding bark. Now there is another literary device used in this poem, which is repetition. Repetition is a literary device which is to use a word quite a number of times for the sake of emphasis. To use a word or a phrase for a number of times for sake of emphasis. Look at this word, pulled out. Pulled out. Pulled out. The poet has used pulled out 3 times. Same word, same phrase, pulled out 3 times. For the sake of emphasis, this is called repetition. This is called repetition. Okay, this is called repetition. Now, there is another literary device, enjambment. Enjambment. Okay. Enjambment is a literary device which is a sentence when runs through quite a number of lines. Okay, without any pause. We call it enjambment. Enjambment. Look at this line. Not a simple jab of knife will do it. Knife will do it. The sentence runs to the next one. Next sentence will do it. And look here, there is no punctuation mark. Okay. And another example of enjambment, rising out of it, feeding. Feeding upon its crust, absorbing. This also runs to the next line, years of sunlight, air, water. And the last one, and out of its leprous heights, sprouting leaves. Sprouting leaves. This is also an example of enjambment. In the next stanza, so hack and chop, but this alone won't do it. Hack and chop alone won't do it. The bleeding bark will heal, and from, look at this, this is also enjambment. Miniature boughs which if unchecked will expand again. This is also enjambment. Okay, this is also to former site. Hair snapped out, enjambment. The most sensitive hidden for years, enjambment. Then the matter of scorching and choking in the air. These are all examples of enjambment. 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 Okay. There is another literary device used by Gieve Patel beside enjambment, which is alliteration. Alliteration. What is alliteration? Alliteration is the occurrence of same consonantal sounds at the beginning of some words, some consecutive words. Occurrence of a particular consonantal sound at the beginning of some words. Look at these words, bleeding bark, bleeding bark. Here the sound bo. The sound bo has been repeated. Bleeding bo, bark, bo. The bo sound has been repeated. Okay, has been occurred in consecutive two words. And white and wet. White and wet, white and wet. The sound wa. The sound wa has been repeated. The sound wa has been repeated. Okay. So this is an example of alliteration. This is an example of alliteration. So many literary devices have been used by Gieve Patel in this poem. Okay. Now we will see the meanings of certain words. Kindly note down these words in your notebook. Okay. Jab. This is a word. A quick stab or blow with a sharp object. a quick stab or blow with a sharp object. Number 2, consuming. This is also a verb, using energy in large amount. Using energy in large amount. Next one, crust. This is a noun, large outer covering of the earth. Large outer covering of the earth. Leprous hide. Next one, leprous hide. Discolored bark. Discolored bark. Number 5, hack and chop. Hack and chop. Cut with heavy blows into pieces. Cut with heavy blows into pieces. Number 6, bleeding bark. Bleeding bark. Sap oozing from bud. Sap oozing from bud. Number 7, twigs. A slender woody shoot growing from a bud. Okay, a slender woody shoot. A little tree, a miniature tree or a miniature branch which grows from a bud is called twigs. Okay. Miniature boughs, small branches of trees. Small branches of trees. Miniature boughs, small branches of trees. Anchoring earth, roots of a tree that lie inside the earth and play the role of an anchor for the tree to grow and hold it strongly to the earth. Again I repeat this sentence, please write it down. Anchoring earth, roots of a tree that lie inside the earth and play the role of an anchor for the tree to grow and hold it strongly to the earth. This is anchoring earth. The next word, snap. Snap, past form of snap. Snap is the past form of snap. Snap means broke suddenly and completely with a sharp cracking sound. Broke suddenly